Hey everyone, I hope this video finds you well. Today we are going to talk about solving multi-step equations, but in this problem, today we're going to look at what happens when we have variables on both sides of our equation. So, and how we solve those types of problems. So, let's look at our first example. 5x plus 7 equals 3x minus 5. In this problem, what you're going to notice is now we have variables on both sides of our equation. So on both sides, we have a 5x and a 3x, so an x term, and then we have a constant term as well. So what we want to do is we want to get all our variables on one side and then all our constants on the other. And we're going to treat our operations just the exact same way. So the first thing we want to do is take care of this 3x and move it to the other side. Well, since it's a positive 2x, it's involved in a sum, just as we've always moved things involved in a sum, we're going to subtract it from both sides. So we subtract 5x from 3x, or 3x from 5x, and we have 2x plus 7 equals negative 5. Notice, okay, we just subtracted the 3x from the 5x. Okay? That's because those are like terms. Right here, you still need to make sure when you're adding and subtracting, you're doing it with like terms. Okay? Constants and variables are not like terms, so we cannot subtract them from each other, and we only need to subtract it once from each side. So we have 2x plus 7 equals negative 5. And then if you notice right here, this piece of your equation is just another two-step equation that we have become pros at solving. And we're going to solve this just as we would a two-step equation. You're going to subtract the 7 from both sides, and you're going to go ahead and divide by 2 to get your value of x equals negative 6. Remember, you can always check your answer by substituting it back into the original function. Okay, so again, we move all our variables to one side, the constants to the other, and go from there. If I can, I prefer to move my variables to the left-hand side, just because it's easier in your final solution. It says x equals negative 6. It's in terms of x instead of seeing that number first. So now let's look at a different example. 7x plus 19 equals negative 2x plus 55. Well, in this case, you guys are going to notice that this is a negative 2x. So what do you think we're going to do? Well, how have we moved negative constants before? Well, we've added them when they've been part of a sum or a difference. We are going to do the exact same thing here. Our operations do not change all of a sudden because now we have two variables, right? That doesn't change what we are going to do. We still need to perform those same operations. So we're going to go ahead and add 2x to both sides. And then again, right at this step, you're going to notice this is a two-step equation. So our goal is to isolate x and solve. Anytime you are solving an equation with variables on both sides, you need your variables on one side and your constant on the other, whatever that may be when you perform your operations. Subtract 19, divide by 9, as we would in a two-step equation, x equals 4. Again, make sure this is an equality. Don't make your equal signs disappear. Sometimes that happens. Make sure it doesn't. And so we still have x equals 4. Now we have 4 times 1 minus x plus 3x equals negative 2 times x plus 1. So we look at this problem and we say, we got a lot of steps involved. We see that we have a couple of x's on the left-hand side. We see we have another x on the right-hand side. But right now we have a small problem. Okay? These x's are currently inside parentheses. Okay? So before we can combine our like terms, we need to deal with those parentheses. Well, how have we dealt with it every time? You have a constant times the sum or difference. Well, we've distributed. So that first thing you are going to do is distribute. Just as we did when we were solving multi-step equations earlier this week. Okay? In order to get that x out of that parentheses, we need to distribute. And then we're in a situation in which we need to combine like terms. Before you try and move your x's or move your constants, your like terms must be combined. Right? You must combine your like terms. Just again, as we did with our multi-step equations last week, except now we have another variable on the other side that we're going to have to deal with. So we go ahead, we combine those like terms, negative 4x plus 3x is negative x. And now okay, we can start moving our x's to one side. Again, I prefer moving my x's to the left-hand side if it's the easiest thing to do. So I add my 2x because this guy right here is a negative 2x. Add my 2x, and I have a positive 4 that I can just subtract from both sides. I'm given x equals negative 6. And again, you can check your answer by substituting that into the original equation. So here you must distribute, combine like terms, and then move all your x's to the same side. So let's look at one more example. Well, what is different about this example? Well, what's different is we have a fraction instead of an integer. But if you remember, a fraction is still a number. Okay? We still treat it the same way. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did last time. And I encourage you guys, if you feel like you've got the hang of this, go ahead and pause the video, practice the problem, and when you're done, come watch the solution. So that first thing we need to do is distribute. And if you notice, we are going to have to distribute on both sides. So we go ahead, distribute. 1/4 times 12 is 3x. 1/4 times 16 is 4. We did distribute the negative 3x. Make sure you remember to distribute the negative as well. Right? We're distributing a negative 3x to both terms. Notice that still on this right-hand side, we have like terms that are not combined. So before we go ahead and try to solve this equation by moving x to its own side and the constants to the other, we need to combine like terms. And again, when you're combining like terms, you're doing whatever operation we see. So here we have 10 plus 6 because they're on the same side, which is 16. Now we move our x's to the left-hand side, add 3x to both sides. Again, notice, right, we're only combining like terms, so we're only adding the x's together. We added it to each side of the equation. Now here we have a two-step equation that we, again, are pros at solving. Make sure you keep your equal sign, subtract 4, divide by 6, we get x equals 2. If you have any questions, make sure you note it in the video and ask in class tomorrow. Have a great day.